At the end of our first season, our former brave adventurers and their good friend Jackson Elias had completed the Larking expedition, including, unfortunately, the end of Augustus Larking himself. Let's see now how the intervening years have been kind to them or not, as their pockets weighed down with gold from Peru. Hello, and welcome to Season 2 of Steady Rollman Presents The Masks of Nyarlathotep. Season 1 covered the Prelude adventure, mostly based in Lima, but now we're back for the adventure proper, as we kick things off in New York.
Okay, so we're moving on to January 1925, which is where we pick the action up in New York. And I asked you guys last time in the intervening couple of weeks just to have a think about what your characters would be doing in that period of time, and how often, if at all, you would be meeting up. So I think I was thinking about putting like some sort of narrative together, but it didn't really work out like that. So I think it might be an idea, if you can, just to give everybody a brief summary of what the others would know about you during the 4-year period that's elapsed. The general consensus was that you'd be meeting up on a fairly regular basis, at least definitely on the anniversary of your exploits in Peru, but also for some of you, I think, on a more regular basis. So if we start with you, Stanton.
I've got a little narrative.
I'll go on. Well, we'll start with whoever wants to start then. I'll tell you, I'll throw it out there.
I'll step aside.
Okay. And
go on, you bigged it up now. You got to.
No, I haven't really bigged it. I haven't really bigged it up, but it actually doesn't answer any of the questions that Darren asked. But still,
that's okay.
So
when you say it's a little narrative, what is it, like one sentence or something?
Yeah, I went home and waited 4 years. I
didn't sleep very well for those 4 years. I don't like maggots.
Yeah. Mind you, I never liked maggots much. Anyway. I couldn't go fishing ever again. It ruined my fishing exploits for life. So, after the horrors of Peru, I returned to New York. My days as an insurance fraud investigator resumed, but my focus had shifted forever. No longer content with mundane cases, I delved into the shadowy world of occult and cults. Jacob, a friend made in a shared nightmare, proved a valuable ally. We exchanged information on art thefts, strange symbols, and whispered rumours. Our mutual benefit was clear. Jacob's contacts in the underbelly of the art world, my contacts in society and the police, and our shared growing knowledge of the arcane. Yet paranoia gnawed at me. I scanned the streets for signs of cultists, teeth-like shards, ancient blades hidden beneath coats. Had they followed me from the Peruvian jungle, or were they always there? Or was it all in my head? As the years passed, the line between reality and imagination blurred. Stolen paintings, cryptic symbols, they haunted my dreams, and I'd wake in a cold sweat, wondering if I'd briefly slipped beyond the veil. But no cultists materialised. No sacrificial altars stained the city's cellars. Perhaps I'd become a ghost hunter chasing phantoms, yet deep down I knew the truth, and the shadows held secrets, and I was determined to uncover them, even if it meant losing my sanity. So, I've been living in New York, taken up my previous job, but that's really just the way to pay my way whilst I delve further into what we'd seen in Peru and what I'd previously seen in London. And given our similar lines of work, perhaps on either side of a particular line, myself and Jacob have remained in touch over the last 4 years, meeting the other gentlemen as time permitted.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you very much for that, Simon. Very good. So, Stanton, can you just give us a précis of what you've been up to in the last 4 years?
Following the expedition to Peru, Stanton was relieved to feel the comforts and familiarity of his new. At times, the events felt like a distant dream, and at others, a waking nightmare. Stanton never did find evidence of the 7-pointed star in the ancient pyramid, but then that is often the nature of archaeology. Whispers, rumours, myths, and then thin air. Stanton regretted that he was unable to copy any of the ancient script set into the Golden Seal. But then again, the investigators had more pressing concerns and little opportunity to tarry in the terrifying tunnels. It was Stanton's friend, colleague, and mentor, Professor Howard Baker, that had suggested he answer the advertisement in the paper. Professor Baker had made a few calls and was under the impression that the seven-pointed star had been photographed as one of Augustus Larkin's initial finds, but this too seemed to be a wild goose chase, and perhaps a case of crossed wires. But all was not lost. One of the items recovered from the Carossery nest featured Stanton's fated star and appeared to be of Incan origin, a small golden figurine of Inti, the sun god, with the star on the reverse of its headdress. Another was a medallion that was ancient Egyptian, or in the style of ancient Egyptian works. It featured the sun god Ra and a six-pointed star on the reverse. These two items Jacob thought must be worth approximately $1,000, but the other items had little sentimental value to Stanton, and he sold them for cash, which now sits in his bank account. Stanton's uncle, Malcolm Fitzwarren, was delighted to see these items on one visit to New York and vowed to keep looking for more. He also introduced Malcolm to Jacob. Stanton also introduced Malcolm to Jacob in case the two may wish to do business in future. On the anniversary of the day that they sealed the ward, Stanton and the other investigators met up to discuss the events of that day. It seemed a fitting date to commemorate, holding back the unseen horror from the country and perhaps the continent. They would meet up again from time to time to socialise and even to see if any new and interesting events or discoveries had been made. Douglas and Jacob would continue their investigations into the occult. Stanton was always happy to exist, not just to further his own research into folklore and modern and ancient, but he was also able to access Columbia University's rare books and manuscripts, a collection of which he was one of those charged with looking after. In the spring of 1924, Stanton travelled back to England for a couple of months. The general election was held on the 5th of December 1923, and his older brother, Major Charles Fitzwarren, was elected as Member of Parliament to represent the constituency of Amesbury in Wiltshire. Like other MPs in the area, he took the whip for the Liberal, and Stanton travelled over to hear his brother's maiden speech. But going back to early 1923, Stanton's interest in ancient Egypt reached boiling point, and he eagerly devoured every copy of the Times, having it shipped over from England. Other papers covered the story, but exclusive reporting rights had been sold to the Times by Lord Carnarvon that detailed Howard Carter's excavations in the Valley of the Kings and the discovery of the tomb of Tutankhamun. Rumours of a curse were often greeted with laughter in the wider world, but Stanton and his investigator colleagues knew that some of these tales of witchcraft can turn out to be horrifyingly accurate. Yes, Stanton continues to work at Columbia University and looking for connections between civilizations across the world, and the seven-pointed star is of particular interest to him. You may have seen his medallion, his necklace with that symbol on it during the trip to Peru.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much for that, Stanton. So,
very, very good, Adam.
Thank you.
Jacob.
Jacob left his business to go to Peru, which was an art dealership and an auctioneer's, a small auctioneer. The business was not thriving at all when he left, but the injection of capital from the money we brought back from Peru assisted. Probably the boom from the Roaring Twenties also helped, and the fortunes of the business have turned around somewhat. Jacob kept in touch with everyone, particularly Douglas, as they've worked together from time to time over the last few years. You have realised that Jacob not only has contacts in the sort of wealthier areas of New York, but also seems to have some contacts in the seedier side as well. Initially, Jacob threw himself into the business really as a way of sort of trying to put the trauma of Peru behind him, but increasingly over the last year or two, that seems to have worn thin. Jake has been thinking more and more about the events in Peru and just had a general feeling of unfinished business, and is finding it harder to concentrate on the business side. There you go.
Excellent. And finally, Lex.
Catching up with the others round about Easter, he said his goodbyes and almost immediately headed home to Canada for a few months in April of 21. Spending Easter and beyond with his beloved Nana in Quebec, he knew it would be good to clear his head of the damned hot and terrifying trip to Peru. The big sky and the cold, fresh air of Canada was just what he needed. He returned to New York in the May of 21, enlisting the help of Stanton to get himself a place in Columbia Business School, encouraged by his father. After all, business would serve him well when he couldn't skate anymore. Columbia had also just returned to the Intercollegiate College Association, another big draw for Lex. As the course didn't start until January of 22, he kept himself busy working at the Hudson Yards for Bill Dwyer, a business associate of his old Canadian hockey friend Thomas Duggan. Dwyer was in the shipping business, and Lex helped move and deliver crates all around the city. Being a skilled driver, he was trusted with a large truck and did multi-stop deliveries all across the 5 boroughs. Once January came around, Lex jumped to his studies. He soon found his way down to the 181st Street Ice Palace and won a place on the team. He spent the next 4 years studying and playing, hanging out occasionally with his Peru friends and making new friends at university. Heading home to Canada at Christmas and summer, one of the advantages to being a student with plenty of cash available. Spending good time with his family and getting life back to boring, trying to forget about vampires and golden magic wards. His associate George Rickard manages to acquire the naming rights to Madison Square Garden and buys a section of land on 8th Avenue between 49th and 50th Street, planning on building a new arena. Lex invests. He puts 4,000 of the 5 he previously had towards and becomes one of the 600 people who invests in the 3rd Madison Square Garden. The ground is broken on the new building on the 9th of January, 1925.
Excellent. Thank you very much, everybody, for that. So it sounds like everybody has, with varying degrees of success, done their best to try and get back to normal, in inverted commas. A lot's been going on in the last 4 years throughout the world, but in New York also. Just to give you a flavour of the sort of things that have been happening, the prohibition obviously started in 1920 and now covers the whole of the US. Women's suffrage again in the same year. In 1921, Albert Einstein began lecturing on the theory of relativity in New York. In late 22, as Stanton has already alluded to, Howard Carter and Lord Carnarvon uncovered King Tutankhamun's tomb, sparking an interest in Egyptian art and style that lasts for the rest of the decade. A year later, in 23, the immoral Charleston dance craze sweeps the nation. Calvin Coolidge becomes 30th US president, a man of tradition and old-fashioned values. And in 24, the membership of the Ku Klux Klan reaches its peak, with an estimated 4.5 million members. Coolidge signs an immigration law to restrict immigration to the US for the first time. So just a kind of a snippet of the things that have been happening in world events. It's 4 years since the event of Peru. Since your adventure with Jackson Elias, you have corresponded from time to time via telegram with him and met him on a couple of occasions for drinks in Manhattan. The last time you saw Jackson was at the 2nd anniversary of the sealing of the pyramid on March the 28th, 1923, where you met in the Hotel Chelsea, Lower Manhattan, for dinner and several Pisco Sours too many. Elias was accompanied that day by his good friend Jonah Kensington, also his publisher as owner of Prospero House Publishing, Lexington Avenue, a pleasant and gregarious man. During that meeting, Jackson gave you all a signed first edition copy of his new book, The Hungry Dead, an expose of the modern-day survival of a Peruvian and Bolivian death cult from the time of the conquistadors. It omits many of the more disturbing details of your adventures in Peru, presenting the cult of the Caraceri as a purely human evil. The book is dedicated to Douglas, Jacob, Lex, and Stanton, teammates, and followed on the next page with the epigraph, "It's not about the shoes, it's what you do in them." Elias left New York City in May 1923, saying in his final wire that he was off seeking material for another book and mentioning that he wanted to look further into Augustus Larkin's history and background. He was heading initially for London. You've not seen or heard of him since, until a radiogram sent on the 3rd of January 1925 from a ship at sea was received by Stanton. Okay, so if I can direct you to Stanton, particularly about everybody can look at it on Roll20. Okay, hopefully you should now be able to see said radiogram. Okay, so Stanton, you'd heard of the Carlisle expedition previously, but only vaguely. You remember it being ill-fated, and you remember some stories back a few years back to some members of the expedition who perished in Africa, but it was only kind of very vaguely that you remember it. Obviously, receiving this from Jackson piqued your curiosity, and you then began to research the Carlisle expedition in the newspapers, and you dug up this, dating back to early April 1919 is the first article that you can find relating to the Carlisle expedition. Okay, everybody read that one?
Yep.
Okay, but that was not all. Your research has continued to reveal more. Another article the day after, and then subsequently one a few months later. Okay?
Yep.
All done? So your curiosity peaked. So this is over a kind of few week period. Once you had recovered everything that you could find regarding the Carlisle expedition, the next time you met up with your colleagues, obviously discussed them and explained that you'd received the radiogram from Elias. The penultimate stories that you found were these. Okay, and then lastly, okay, so yes, all interesting stuff. You've heard nothing from Jackson since receiving the radiogram, since Stanton received the radiogram on the 3rd of January, other than to suggest a meet on the 15th. All of you awaken on Tuesday the 13th of January to chaos in the city as a second snowstorm of the year has hit New York. Fields of ice of polar proportions block ferry services in New York. Snowdrifts 10 to 20 feet deep paralyze railroad transportation in the northern and western parts of the city. Tens of thousands of commuters and other travelers between New York and New Jersey, finding the ferry service practically at a standstill, crowd the Hudson and Manhattan tubes as the only means of transportation. Notices posted at the ferry terminals on both sides of the river, advising travellers to use tubes. Long lines of vehicles strung out on the streets, approaching the ferry slips on the New Jersey side. Scores of additional policemen assigned to the ferry entrances to help handle the congestion of both vehicles and pedestrians. Many ferry boats disabled by contact with unusually large ice floes. Streets and highways in and between many New York and New Jersey communities are blocked all day by enormous piles of snow and ice, through which snow plows and scrapers are able to make little headway. In Manhattan, thousands of shovelers mobilized by the street cleaning department, aided by tens of thousands of property owners, devoting their efforts to clearing the sidewalks. The snow removers work on the sidewalks in front of private property, using a variety of picks, ice chisels, shovels, and scrapers. It's an unprecedented weather event in New York. As I said, bringing the city pretty much to a standstill. And by the end of the 13th, Tuesday, as the freeze sets in overnight, a lot has been clear, but it's still the roads are still in a very treacherous condition. This is the backdrop to the next development, which comes on Thursday, January the 15th, when Stanton, having made your way to work on foot, obviously you don't live very far from Columbia University anyway, you find the university are still operating on a skeleton staff because of the fact that a lot of pupils and also lecturers can't actually get there because of the weather. But a telephone call comes in for you just before you're about to leave. Somebody, the secretary who puts it through, says, Stanton, I have somebody who says we need to speak to you quite urgently. He wouldn't give me his name, but he sounds a bit Stressed.
Of course, please put him through.
Stanton, it's Jackson. I'm here in New York. Something serious is going on, and I need your help. All of you. The Carlisle expedition. It's not what everyone thinks. This is big, and I think they're onto me. It's all at stake, Stanton. Meet me at the Hotel Chelsea, 8 p.m. Bring the others too. Room 410. The line goes dead.
Yeah. Well, that's most intriguing. I better put in a few calls before I head off to work.
Away. Okay, so you're going to contact the other three?
Mm-hmm.
And we've all been waiting for the 15th to come around anyway, because you know that was the day that you were supposed to be meeting with him, but had not heard anything up until now. So I guess presently, everybody wants to arrive at the hotel. Do you want to do anything beforehand, or what's the plan?
No, I'm just going to head over there as soon as possible, based on what we've been told.
You'll get a call from Stanton. It's obviously quite late, so it doesn't really give you much turnaround time, especially with the way that the traffic is currently in the city.
Yeah, we're going to have to battle through the weather. No, I'm just going to get over there as soon as possible.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, Carol.
Although it's not my skill set, I will keep an eye out to see if someone is following me.
Well, as you make your way to the
Hotel
Chelsea.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you all make your way to the Manhattan neighborhood of Chelsea, to the Hotel Chelsea on West 23rd Street, between 7th and 8th Avenues. The 12-story red brick edifice with its magnificent staircase. It's a pretty impressive building, and it towers above you as you make your way down, or you crunch your way down the snow-laden street. It's dark. It's obviously dark by now. It is January, and you head into the hotel. Okay. In terms of equipment or anything, like what are you actually carrying with you? Just normal evening wear, is it?
Normal clothes, heavy coat, hat. I always carry a firearm with me.
Okay. I presume that's a pistol as opposed to a sawn-off shotgun.
Sawn-off shotgun. Yeah.
Didn't serve you well last time.
It didn't. No, I've given up on that. The pistol's much more effective.
The pistol definitely did.
Okay. So you all head to the Hotel Chelsea. You're all happy to get out of the freezing cold weather and into the hotel itself. You meet up in the lobby.
Bang the snow off my boots.
It's about 7:30 by the time you meet. I think. Yeah, you'll kind of get there in dribs and drabs. But yeah, it's kind of pushing 7:30, pushing 8. Stanton, you're the first one there in the hotel bar, waiting for the rest of your colleagues.
I'll try to look inconspicuous. Also somewhere where they can find me.
Okay. So presently you all meet up. Obviously, you've only told them briefly that why you've summoned them all here.
So, Stanton, shall we just go and see him? It sounded urgent.
Yes, I think we should. A few minutes early, but surely that shouldn't be.
Well, if it's as concerning as it sounded, I doubt he's going to be too worried about us arriving swiftly.
What room are we heading to, Standard?
It's 410.
Fourth floor, I assume. Let's go.
Let's head up.
Okay, so you make your way out of the bar into the hotel lobby, and then are you going to go use the elevator, or are you going to go up the stairs?
Elevator.
Okay. You head up to the 4th floor in the elevator. The elevator doors open, and you presently find your way to the end of the corridor. You can see as you're heading down a corridor which has got like 3 doors on either side, and at the far end you can see facing you the door with the numbers 410 on. It's about 10 to 8, but now by the time you're there, by the time you get to the door,
just knock on. Just knock.
Just have a look up the corridor. Is anyone else around?
Okay, you look to the left and right. No, you don't see anybody else around. You're knocking on the door, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, you rap sharply on the door. There's no response. Can you make a listen roll, please? Okay, did anybody get...
hard success.
You got hard success?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fail.
Normal success.
Okay. So did those of you who got a normal success, that was just Stanton, was it? Yeah. Stanton, you kind of hear, you're standing quite close to the door. You hear some kind of bumping and banging within the room. And you, Douglas, you hear the same, but you also hear a muffled cry as well.
I kick the door down and pull my gun out.
Okay, you're going to try and kick the door down.
I am.
Well, is it unlocked?
Don't know.
You'd obviously try it, wouldn't you, before you kicked it down?
Yeah.
So you try the door. It is locked, the door. So you're going to try and kick it down. Okay, can you make a strength roll, please?
Yes.
Is that 3?
Absolutely shatter it, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you obviously
someone's in for a bill.
You obviously catch it right in the sweet spot, and the lock just pops, and the door flings itself open. With the door flying open, you're greeted with a scene of chaos. You can see behind, in the middle of the room, is a double bed. Jackson's body is lying on the bed. There's blood everywhere. The air is heavy with the smell of blood. The wall is spattered with blood. The bed linen is soaked with blood. There's blood pooled on the floor. And standing in front of you, not far, literally about 3 feet away from the door as it slams open, is a black man wearing an ill-fitting, too tight, blood-spattered blue suit. He has a large, blood-covered, broad-bladed knife in his right hand, and he's wearing an odd, disturbing headdress, which is made of leather, and then has a piece of red cloth hanging down from it. Seeing you, his eyes widen, and he lifts his dagger, just sort of grunts, and heads towards you.
I will not even bother trying to tell him to stop. I will shoot him.
Okay, so you're aware of behind him as well. There are other individuals in the room, but you don't really have enough time to decide. Did you have your gun out? Did you say?
I did. I said I pulled as I kicked the door down.
Okay.
I have a gun out.
Okay, so yeah, that's fine. What's everybody else wanting to do?
I'm going to draw my gun as well, but I'm sort of a bit further back. So.
You're going to draw your gun. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Draw my
Lex,
gun.
what are you doing?
I will head past the mount of the blade to the person behind him and try to melee, because I didn't bring a gun.
No, that's fine. Okay. Oops, sorry, that's too loud.
Didn't even bring a knife to a knife fight.
Yeah, we'll see how we go.
Well, you do more damage by punching than I do by shooting anyway.
Right, okay, so you act first then, Douglas.
Okay, 3 shots. To my point blank.
Yeah, you are point blank range, which gives you a bonus die.
Yeah, but I'm firing 3 shots, so.
Okay. Do you lose that, so it negates it?
4.
Ooh.
I might not need to take any more shots.
Okay. Roll.
That's an impale.
Yeah, which is maximum damage plus maximum damage bonus plus damage rolled again.
Okay, so that is 12, okay, 12 plus. That's 22 damage.
Okay. So literally the black man turns, looks at you, cultist looks at you, raises his machete, bares his teeth, and then you just shoot him between the eyes. And it just collapses, well, to the bed, which he's crouching down over by a chest of drawers, he's looking to try and get a suitcase open. And there's a third black man who, in a kind of a brown suit, who is standing by the fire escape. The entrance to the fire escape at the back of the room is open. Okay, so that was you, Douglas. Lex, Jacob, and Stanton. I can't remember what you said you were doing.
Jacob, I was drawing my gun. I'm going to aim though. I just want to sort of wait and see what the other two do. So I'm going to point the gun into the room and aim.
Okay, you're going to point the gun into the room and aim. Stanton, what are you going to do?
Follow the others into the room, draw my gun, and because I'll be a bit behind, well, probably by the time but I will aim at anyone attacking.
Okay. Well, there are 2 more men in the room. There's one, as I said, there's one that's crouching down in the middle of the room, and there's one at the far end of the room by the fire exit.
I'm the one crouching down. I think he's the biggest immediate threat.
Okay.
I'll aim for the one on the and shout, "Stay where you are."
Okay, the one who was crouching down with the suitcase, he rises to his feet and charges forward with a knife in his hand. Stanton, you went into the room, didn't you?
Yes.
But you said you had your gun in your hand, didn't you?
Yeah, I was drawing my gun, and I was going to aim at the guy next to the fire escape, but I was...
Okay. So this with this guy rising to his feet and then charging towards Stanton, you both got your guns out. So you both got the opportunity to shoot at him if you want to.
Yeah, I'll shoot at him.
Yeah, I'll shoot him.
Jacob, you can take, because you were quicker. You take the first shot. Then, how many shots are you taking?
3.
Okay.
That's a miss. So 1's a miss. Oh dear, not on form tonight. 2's a miss.
Oh dear, peppering the walls of the hotel.
Guess what? 3's a miss.
Okay, so you missed 3 times. In sheer panic, you're waving your gun around, but it's not making any. It's not. You're just shooting the floor and the walls. Okay, Stanton, what are you going to do?
Well, I'll try to shoot him once.
Okay.
Point blank.
Yeah.
But you might have to roll for me because I've got my latest character sheet.
You're gonna. Okay, hold on a sec.
I've learnt from before. Multiple shots.
Which roll percentile dice? Okay, what I get 72. I guess that's not a hit.
Is it point blank though?
Yes.
You get to get a bonus die.
You do. Oh dear. Oh, that's good. That's a 10. That's O2. So that's a really good. That's a really good bonus die.
That'll be an impale then.
It's 12, isn't it?
No, it's an O2.
No, 10's a naught, 1's a...
Yeah.
That makes
from
sense.
Right.
Yeah. So that's an impale. Okay. So that's what damage does your gun do? Okay. It does.
You using a 38? It's 1d10.
I think it does 1d10.
No,
Yes.
no, I've got a Mauser.
You got a Mauser revolver. It's 1d10 anyway. Okay. So it's 1d10. So it's maximum damage. So that's 20 points, isn't it?
Yeah.
1d10. Well, there's no damage bonus on it though. So
No. So it's 10 plus another 1d10, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 12 damage. Okay, your bullet rips through the second cultist's neck, and it kind of spins him round, blood spurting everywhere, and he falls to the ground as well. You see that he's wearing a similar kind of horrible kind of headdressy thing as well. The third cultist advances to engage with you, Lex, as you run into the room.
Fabulous.
Okay, he actually gets he moves forward and thrusts at you with his swings his dagger, broad-bladed knife. So can you make a brawl roll, please? Or actually, are you going to fight back or are you going to dodge?
I am going to fight back.
Okay. So you
That
got
is a hard success.
hard success. Okay.
Hard success.
And I got he got a regular success. So you grab hold as he swings his machete at you. You grab hold of his wrist with one hand, and then you can punch him with the other. So you crack him with the other. Can you make a damage roll, please?
3, 5. 5 damage.
5 damage. Okay. You punch him solidly on the chin, and he staggers back. You see, he's looking at you with wild eyes, still gripping onto the blade that he thrust at you originally. So you can now have your attack.
Okay. Try to jab at him.
Okay.
Ooh, it's a success.
He's going to try and fight back as well with his machete.
It's just short of being a hard success. Got it.
So it's just a normal success, yeah?
Just normal success, yeah.
Okay, he gets a
6. What's a 6? Jeez. Okay.
That's looking nasty. Okay,
We'll
that
just
is
stop to watch this.
so. That is a 50%, 10%. Yeah, so that's a critical success. Oh, no, that's a extreme success. Ouch. He stabs you. You just feel everything just goes cold as you feel the blade penetrate your side. It literally goes straight into your stomach. You take 11 damage.
Oh, je dois t'en plus sur moi.
Okay, you fall to the ground. Can you make a con roll, please?
Yes, I rolled 80. That's significantly higher than my constitution.
Okay. You unfortunately, because of the severity of the wound and the blood loss, that entails you fall unconscious. So the rest of you just see the blade penetrate through the stomach of Lex, and he literally just goes to the ground like a bag of potatoes. He's just straight down, and he's out. Okay. So Douglas.
Looking a bit stunned at this point, looking from one body to another. So who's now standing? The one.
There's only one. Yeah,
right.
There's only one left standing. The one who originally was by the fire escape.
The one who's left standing is the one who has just knifed Lex. Okay.
Yeah.
I will turn and I will fire 3 rounds at him.
Okay.
Okay, that's a hit.
What did you get?
68.
Okay, that's a regular success, is it?
So regular success. Did you roll damage for that one?
Yes, please.
12 damage.
12. Okay. Okay, you shoot him in the chest, and the force of the bullet hitting him throws him back. He against the wall, and then he slides down with a stain of blood following him as he sinks to the ground. You see the kind of his headdress comes off and almost comes off his face, and like the weird kind of long red thing that's hanging off it. It like hangs directly in front of his eyes as his eyes kind of stare at you in an insane way, and he kind of looks at you, and then you can see his eyes are now staring at you blankly. He's obviously just died.
Spare him a second thought, and I'll rush over to Lex.
Yeah, Lex has got a major wound in his stomach, and it's bleeding quite badly.
Okay, I will grab anything to stop the blood and apply pressure, and I'll shout for Stanton to get over.
Yeah, which is exactly what I'm doing.
Someone call the police and a meat wagon.
I'm just going to check on Jackson while they're attending to Lex.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Do you want to make a first aid roll then, Stanton, if you're attending to Lex?
Okay.
Can I have first crack, seeing as I was there first?
Oh, sorry, I thought you were waiting for him to do it.
No, I tried to staunch the blood to start with.
Yeah, you can.
Oh dear, I appear to have killed him.
Did you fail?
I failed.
Okay, yeah.
Not a horrendous fail, mind you.
You haven't hurt him, but you're just finding it hard to stop the blood.
Yeah. I'm not doing any good here, Stanton. Step out of the way.
See what I can do. It's deep.
I can see that, man.
Yeah. Well, I think that should stop him getting any worse.
Is that a success?
Regular success.
Okay. Yeah, you managed to after a few minutes, you managed to staunch the blood. It isn't actually quite as bad as it looks. It's pretty bad, but you don't think it's life threatening. Now that
he'll need hospital.
Yeah, you definitely. Well, you think he'll need hospital. It's taken quite a large chunk out of his side. It's kind of it's not actually pierced his stomach. You don't think. But it's a nasty wound. Don't get me wrong, but you don't think it's
vital.
No, exactly.
Vital organs.
Yeah. Lex, you gain 1 hit point from the attentions of Stanton.
Ooh, I'm up to 3.
And you start to come around. All you can feel is just a terrible pain in your right side.
Once I've done what I can, I'll join Jacob.
Jackson Elias, you kind of turn in the melee. You didn't have a lot of time to take in too much, but you turn and you are almost sick when you see that his body, he's been from the below his sternum all the way down to his groin has been slit open and all his entrails have been pulled out. Can you make a SAN roll, please? Yeah.
That's a no.
Okay. You lose 2 sanity from that.
Can you have a look at my backstory on my character sheet? And just tell me
it's because this is because he's a friend rather than it just being a random.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would normally be more than that. So I was aware of that.
Okay.
It's the same for everybody in the room that can see Jackson Elias. He's been basically been disemboweled, which is quite a shocking sight to behold. So can you all make sanity rolls, please? You don't really have a lot of choice. You've already seen it, but obviously,
no, just registering.
Yeah.
Can I just stay unconscious?
Yeah, you've seen it as well. Though when you went in the room. So.
Oh, Stanton's got right in there.
Okay. So you failed.
I don't think
then,
trying to put his guts back in isn't going to help.
Stanton, you only lose 1 point of sanity though. You succeeded, Lex.
I succeeded, yep.
Okay.
Must have been all that time I had my eyes closed.
No, I failed as well.
Okay. It's hit you
me up.
hard.
He was a friend. He was a close friend.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. What are you going to do now? Sorry. You also noticed that something that obviously he, as you try and recover from the shock of seeing your friend in such a state, he has also, not only have they disemboweled him, but they've also carved something into his head as well, like some sort of symbol.
I'm not even looking at that. I'm just going to go and stick my head out the window and breathe.
You can hear some running running up the stairs and some shouting out in the corridor.
Okay, I'll go into police mode. I'll go out into the corridor.
We need to get a medic for Lex.
You need to see if there's, as I'm heading towards the door, I'm just going to say, you need to see if he's got anything. They were obviously after something and he wanted to show us it. The police are going to be here soon. This is going to be a crime scene. Get rid of whatever it is so that we can find out what's really going on. And then I leave the room and I shut the door behind me.
Okay.
I'll start searching.
Okay. Well, the first thing that springs, is a case, a suitcase that the second man there's two, there are two black cultists and one white one. The white one, who was crouching down, he was the one who was trying to open the suitcase. The suitcase has the initials JE monographed on it, and it has a combination lock of 4 numbers.
I'm going to try and crack the lock with the combination.
The anniversary date, month and day.
You going to try that?
We're in America, so month first, day second.
So that'll be 0328. You can try that?
Yep. Oh yeah. Sorry, I thought Jacob.
Well, no.
I'll suggest.
Yeah. I'll
okay.
try that.
Whoever gets there first.
Okay, so you try you're going to try the 28th of the 3rd. Is that what you're trying? Because it was March the 28th, 19.
Yeah. So,
okay.
0328.
Okay, 0328, and then the case pops open.
Well done, Stanton.
It's the only date I could think of.
Inside, you see numerous items, which I will.
Please get here. Even if we got past that one, should one of us go out the fire escape?
Okay, hopefully you should be able to see the items now.
That should be. It's not a huge amount, Stanton. We should be able to conceal that, I think.
Yeah, so we've got.
We'll just gather them. Let's look at them later. Let's just gather. I'll gather them together and sort of secrete them by person. I'd also like to search the cultists as well.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you search the cultists now. Aside from their weapons and their horrible headdresses, they don't have anything else. Literally nothing.
I'm just going to have a look around the rest of the room, really, see if there's anything else that sort of leaps out.
Okay.
Check Lex is still okay.
Yeah, Lex is conscious now. You feel weak, and your side is. It's very painful, but yeah, you're actually back conscious. You can talk, etc. So Douglas, you went out through the door, yeah?
Yeah. Just standing.
Okay. As soon as you go out through the door, you can hear some running footsteps along the corridor, and you suddenly see like 2 hotel staff come running towards you. Like they look like they might be security guards.
Mm-hmm.
They're literally just running down the corridor towards you. What are you going to do?
I'm going to stand in front of them. I put my hand up and say, "Stop! There's been a shooting. Call the police."
Okay. Where is it?
In the room behind me. There's numerous casualties. You need to get an ambulance and the police now.
Okay. They both talk to each other. And one of them runs back. The other one stays in the corridor. What happened?
My friends and I were supposed to meet a friend who's staying at the hotel. We arrived at his room and heard a scuffle. We broke in and discovered that he had been murdered, and the men who attacked him attempted to attack us, and we shot them.
Jeez. Why? Why did they kill him?
That we have no idea about. He is a professional friend of ours. He's an author. We have no idea what's going on. It may be something connected to what he wanted to talk to us about. But I haven't seen him in years. This is the first time we have seen him in a long time. So unfortunately, we have no idea. There's something that hopefully the police will be able to find out.
Good, yeah.
But I suggest you don't go in there. It's not pretty.
No, I've got no intention of going in there. I'll just stay here.
Yeah.
What, are your friends in there as well?
They are. One of our friends is badly injured, which is why I needed the ambulance. He's been stabbed.
Oh,
Luckily, one of my friends is also a physician, so he's tending to him, but he's going to need hospital. Unfortunately, the man staying at the hotel has been gutted.
You don't hear about it, and these could probably do without that today. I'll just stand here, he says, and he kind of turns his back to the room and kind of stand on guard.
So, do you know how long the guest was staying for? Do you know anything about him?
No, I don't. I'm just security. I don't know anything really about the guests. I guess if you ask at the front desk, they might be able to tell you more.
I'll wait here for now, but I should speak to the police.
Yeah. You better stay there. I can't really let you go anyway.
No, I have no intention of leaving.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't think you did. No. Okay, so you're just going to stay outside there?
Yeah, making sure that nobody goes through.
Okay. Meanwhile, back in the room, you search through the room. No, there's not really anything else. Well, there isn't anything other than Jackson's personal effects, which there isn't really a huge amount of. He travelled pretty light. There isn't anything else of any interest in the actual room itself. Are you just going to wait there, or
am I just have to move myself around? I need help walking.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I'm okay. Well, no, I'm not okay.
You're not okay.
I'm okay to move.
Yeah, you're okay. You can move. It hurts, obviously, but Stanton's done a pretty good job of bandaging you up.
Okay.
And yeah, you can move.
I need to get to a hospital because you've secured any evidence that we're going to need. Are we going to wait for the police and give our statements, or are we just going to get out of here?
I think we may be better to stay. By the sound, I could hear security outside. It's going to look mightily suspicious if we disappear. I'll pop my head out through the door and just see what's going on outside.
Okay, you can just see. You can see Douglas straight outside, and then you can see one of the security guards. Douglas, you obviously see the door open. You're right next to it.
Yeah. So you all wait in there. The police and ambulance are coming. We're going to need to give statements.
All right. I'll pop back in and say, Lex, there's an ambulance on the way.
Okay.
Hang in there.
So the fire escape, was that open?
Yeah.
At the time? Okay, I'll have a look out the fire escape. See if I can see anyone waiting down at the bottom.
Make a spot hidden roll, please.
Oh, that is a normal success.
Okay. Yeah, obviously the you look outside into the darkness. Snow is still fluttering down, but you can see down below. Obviously, it's quite a long way down because you're on the 4th floor. But you can see it looks like there's a car that's been parked quite weirdly, almost like someone just got out of it and left it in the street right at the bottom of the fire escape. And you notice that the reason it draws your attention is because you can see the exhaust fumes coming out of it. So it's obviously the engine's obviously running.
I'll go duck my head back into the room. There's nothing left on the fire escape, no items.
No.
Okay, I'll duck my head back in the room, go to the door, and tell Douglas. It seems there's a car waiting at the alley, engine running.
Right. Well, there's not a lot we can do. We need to wait for the police.
Yeah.
As you're talking, you hear the police. You can hear the police sirens now through that are audible through the open fire escape door window. As the police approach, so you think it won't be long before they come up. They're up at the.
Was the door to the fire escape open, Stanton?
Yeah, so the window, yeah.
The window, rather, yeah.
I will keep an eye on the car.
Okay.
Well, if you can get that, I'll poke my head back through the door and say quietly, so hopefully the security guard can't hear it. So if you get down there and check it and come back up again quickly, you might have enough time. I'll try and keep the police waiting.
I'll head straight down. Won't waste any time.
Okay, you're gonna head down. You head down the fire escape, which is you have to do quite gingerly because it's not only it's rickety but very icy as well. So it's not the easiest to navigate. But obviously you're not under any duress, so you're able to descend the fire escape into the alleyway, and then just the few kind of slippery yards to the car. What are you going to do? As you get closer, can you make a spot hidden roll, please?
That is a hard success.
Okay, your keen eyes, even through the darkness, tell you that you can see that doesn't seem to be anybody in the driver's seat or in the passenger seat or in the back. It looks to be empty, just left idling.
I'll start with the glove compartments and have a look around there, search it as quickly as I can.
Okay.
Go to the trunk next.
Okay. You find you open the glove compartment and you find like just kind of normal, like pair of gloves and some other odds and ends that you'd expect to find in the average glove compartment. The manual for the car, some service papers. The service papers, you look at it and you see that the owner of the car lives in Lenox Avenue in Harlem. You kind of get the impression that this car's been stolen.
Okay. Is there anything in the car or the boot?
Yeah, there's just your average kind of the normal things you'd expect to find in a car: spare tire, blanket, bits of tools and stuff, but nothing that's out of the ordinary at all. It looks like it's a Hudson Roadster, the car, and it looks for all the world like you can't imagine that it hasn't been stolen. It looks like it's just been parked on the side of the road and then probably commandeered.
I'm going to leave the papers relating to the owner in the car, but make a quick note of the address or the name
address.
if it's on there.
Okay.
I don't want to be caught with these papers on me.
Okay, you're going to head back up.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so presently 2 police officers make their way up to the 4th floor of the Hotel Chelsea, and you see them coming down the corridor towards you. And their security guard goes to meet them, and he kind of explains. You hear him explaining that what's happened from Douglas's account. The police officers come up to you and say, "Evening. Can you? I understand there's been a shooting."
Worse than that, there's been several shootings and a stabbing. My friend has been killed, and I have shot 2 of the assailants. We have an injured man in the room as well. I trust there is an ambulance coming.
Yeah, there's an ambulance on the way.
Okay. I should say I'm carrying a pistol. I'll pull back my jacket to show the pistol. I've also got a license to carry, and I'm a private detective licensed. I'll show that. Okay.
So, how many bodies are there?
Perhaps you should come in and see. I warn you. Our friend who was staying here has had his innards removed. It's not pretty. So unless you have a very strong stomach, I suggest you prepare yourself.
They look at each other, but I suppose we don't have a choice.
No. Okay. Okay. I will open the door and I will let them in.
Oh Jesus! One of them kind of turns away. The other one you can see begins to retch as he walks into the room.
Yeah, I'm avoiding my gaze.
They both come back out. Well, wait until the lieutenant arrives. Who shot the Negroes?
I shot 2 of them, and one of my friends in there shot the other. But one of them stabbed my friend.
We'll wait for the lieutenant to arrive. Nobody's to leave.
No, we're not going anywhere.
Okay, presently more police arrive, and a lieutenant who introduces himself as Martin Poole, Lieutenant Martin Poole of the 7th Precinct, is quite keen to take you all back to the station to discuss the evening's events. The 4th floor of the Hotel Chelsea is cordoned off, and Lex is taken in an ambulance that manages to fight its way through the snow to the nearest hospital in Manhattan, with a police officer in attendance as well.
Okay.
Okay, you're taken to the police station, where you are left in an interview room for a long time. You're given food and drink, but you've probably been there a couple of hours before the lieutenant actually gets around to speaking to you. And by that time,
we've been separated, or are we all together?
No, you're all together.
Okay.
We're together at this stage.
I guess at this stage, when we're interviewed, the easiest thing to do is to tell the truth, isn't it?
Tell the entire truth, other than, I wouldn't mention the evidence and the reason why we were meeting, and just say that he told us that we were in, he was in trouble, but didn't give any details, and we arrived to help him out. That's it. So we haven't really got anything to hide. The only reason why we wouldn't tell them about the evidence is because I want us to find out what's going on, because I don't have trust that they won't mess it up.
Okay. Well, just remind me what you did. I know you took the items out of the suitcase, Jacob. But what did you do with the suitcase?
Left it.
Okay.
So.
Right. Okay. Lex, you're seen in hospital. Checked over. Your wound is cleaned and dressed and bandaged, and the doctor who sees you tells you that you really need to rest, because you've been quite lucky that it could have been a lot worse. If it had been like an inch either way, you could have got some. You'd probably been a goner, but nevertheless, it's still quite a nasty wound that won't heal quickly unless you rest. But the police officer is quite keen to take you back to the station, and the doctor reluctantly agrees that you are fit enough to make your way around. You can move around now. It just obviously is very painful.
Okay.
So you are taken back to the 7th precinct as well, where you, after about just an hour and a half or so, you are reunited with your friends in the interview room, awaiting the arrival of Lieutenant Poole.
Good to see you on your feet, Lex.
Yeah, feeling a bit. I could do with a sit down rather than this, but hopefully this won't take long.
You could do with a beer as well.
Yeah, that would be nice. Do you think they have any here?
You have to plug the hole, Lex. I think it'll leak out.
Yeah, really, Jacob. That's a little bit too soon.
Yeah, it's particularly what happened to Jackson.
Mm.
Okay. So these are all the things that you found, which you're going to look at later. But here is there's like a symbol that was carved into the head of Jackson. That's what it looks like.
Sorry, what's the symbol?
On Roll20.
Not the Polaroid-looking thing.
Yeah, in the bottom right corner.
Okay, I haven't got to that point yet. That looks like the mouth of one of those maggots.
Yeah, with 2 eyes.
What's the name written on the handwritten card? Silas
Nkwame.
Nkwame. Silas. Yeah, the back. That's the back of the Emerson Imports card.
I see. Yeah.
Penhue Foundation, Tottenham Court Road, London.
Harvard University Library.
My eyesight's terrible. It reads like Shanghai Fun and Friends, Scumbag, Tiger Bar. I don't think it actually says scumbag. Stumbling Tiger.
Stumbling Tiger, yeah.
That's 18 Lazarus Street. No, what is it? The Stumbling Tiger Bar. Yeah.
Lantern. 18 Lantern Street.
This is the part of the podcast where Dave plays the gallery music from Take Heart.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Well, we're not going to. I'm not going to somewhere where somebody from the Miskatonic University is speaking. Esoterica, the cult of darkness, Polynesian.
There's not that many of those things that in the city. We've got Boston, London, Cairo. There's only Emerson Imports and the speaking that is in the city.
Yeah.
Earth links all of this.
That is the $1 million question.
It was all in the same suitcase.
I tell you, if you figure that out, we've just completely destroyed Darren's campaign.
Yeah. So you're obviously having a quick look at this when Lieutenant Poole enters the room. It's now getting on for midnight-ish.
Yeah.
Slightly overweight man with greased back black hair. Kind of feel you can see his face says that he's been many years in the force, wizened, nobody's fool.
Too many donuts.
Evening, all of you. Sorry to have kept you waiting for so long.
Good evening,
Quite
Lieutenant.
Quite an incident we've got on our hands here, isn't it?
More than that, that was one of our best friends that they killed this evening.
I'm sorry to hear that. It wasn't a pretty sight.
No.
So, how do you know the victim?
We met him about 4 years ago on an expedition to Peru, archaeology. He was a writer.
I understand, yeah. Quite a successful one too, by all accounts.
Yes, he was. Very good at his job.
What brought you to the Chelsea tonight to meet him then?
I hadn't seen him for a while, but our friend Stanton here received a call from him. Sounded quite worried. Asked us all to meet him because he had something he wanted to tell us about. He didn't provide any details at all, so we headed straight over. He's wasn't an easily shaken man, so it sounded like he was in trouble. So that's why we headed over as soon as we could.
Yeah, I see. He starts to make a few notes on a pad that he's got in front of him. So, before tonight, when did you last speak to him, your friend, the late Mr. Elias?
I'll look around to
That's 2 years ago.
Must be that. I think he's been abroad.
Is it that long? Wow. I could have sworn it was last March, but no, thinking about it, you're right. It's been 2 years.
So he looks at you kind of, you all know each other through this archaeological trip?
Yes.
We do, yeah.
So were you on good terms with the
very
deceased?
Good terms. He was a very good friend of ours.
So do you know anyone who has anything to gain from Mr. Elias's death?
Not that we're aware. We hadn't, as you said, we hadn't seen him for some time. As you probably aware, due to the nature of his written work, he may have made many enemies. The fact that those that killed him appear to have ceremonial headdresses of some description suggests that maybe he'd investigated a death cult that didn't take kindly to him seeking to find out more about their business. But given their ethnicity, I suspect it was something that he was been investigating long since Peru, because they didn't seem of Peruvian origin.
Yeah, and the white chap, I guess he was a local.
Yeah.
There are white people in Africa,
Yes.
as indeed there are blacks in America.
There are people everywhere.
Yeah, you think it's cult related then, do you?
Well, I don't think that their headdresses are the height of fashion in New York. So yes.
Just going back to your relationship with Mr. Elias, do you have anybody that can attest to your friendship with him?
Other than the four of us. The five of us were on the expedition together. That's
pretty much it. You may, if the records are still intact, you will probably find our notes of our passage down to Peru on the ship we travelled down on and the ship that we returned on. We all travelled together, so you'd also most likely be able to check our passport, because we must have passed through immigration in order to return.
There's not the insignificant matter of the fact that we are in the front cover of his book, as you know.
Well, there is that. Yes, I had forgotten that. Yes, we are referenced in his book.
Okay. He writes that down, underlines it 3 times on his pad.
Stupid that I should forget that.
Okay. So, what do you know about the deceased's will?
Nothing. I wasn't even aware that he had one. Although he did make a sizable sum as part of the expedition to Peru. In fact, we all did. So none of us are short of finances.
No.
That was going to be my next question. So you're all
We are all people of means. So if your theory is that we would have wanted him dead for his money, none of us needed that. And in fact, if that was the case, we wouldn't have waited 4 years to try and take it from him. Or indeed involved the 3 additional assailants to set it up and stab one of us in the process.
He kind of yawns and leans back on his chair. Douglas, can I call you Douglas?
You can.
Something about you tells me you've been in the force.
Yes. I was in Special Branch in London during the Great War.
Yeah, I thought so. Could smell him a mile off.
Yes, I haven't been in the force for some time now.
So, I'm interested in your view on this connection with cults. That symbol that's carved into his head. What do you know of that?
Nothing. It's not something I'm familiar with. It doesn't seem to tally with any of the symbolism that we encountered in Peru. Again, I don't think there is any direct connection to our expedition down there. I would suggest that maybe if you could find an expert in one of the universities might be able to provide you with additional information, but it means nothing to me, unfortunately.
That's a shame. Damn shame. He seems genuinely disappointed with that.
If I knew, I would definitely tell you. We want to see this. Whoever is behind his murder, assuming that the now deceased assailants weren't where this ends, we want to help as much as we can.
Presume there weren't any others, no?
Not that we knew, not that we could see. We looked out the window, nobody else around. It was just those 3.
It's a pain in the arse. Okay. Yeah, stay here a sec. I'll be back in. He goes out of the room. He leaves the door to his office open so you can kind of hear the goings on in the police station.
Just listen. Oh, and I'll look quizzically at everybody else and shrug in a kind of all right kind of way.
Doesn't seem to suspect it's us too strongly, but it sounds more like he'd like us to sort it out for him.
Yes. Well, let's face it. This is not the kind of murder that you are going to want to be lumbered with. It's very messy. It's going to make the news.
Yeah.
Unless he can.
Sorry, go on. So I was just thinking. I'm sure he would prefer it if it was just burglars in the room. He's surprised. Can't deny the fact.
No, but obviously after something. I mean, even if he's a lousy detective, he would know that.
Okay, he comes back in the room with a cup of coffee. So, sorry, I didn't ask you whether you wanted a drink.
No, that's fine. I wouldn't be drinking coffee this late. It's going to prove difficult to sleep tonight as it is.
Yeah, you and me both. Look, this isn't the kind of murder that I could be doing with. It's kind of messy, and it's going to be all over the news in the morning. I could really do with a hand here if any of you guys know anything. If you the cult angle is something I'm really interested in, and you chaps seem to be probably better placed than I to give me the lowdown on who would have been after your friend, Mr. Elias.
We genuinely don't know, but if you're asking, can we help you? We have contacts. It's the nature of our work. I have contacts around the city. We can do some asking around and feedback to you. It sounds like we could help each other. It's in all our interest to find out what happened and why.
Yeah. You know what? I kind of believe you. I believe you.
Well, I don't know if you know him. I know Lieutenant Maguire, Arnie Maguire over in the 14th Precinct. He'll vouch for me. We've worked together before.
How do you know him? I do know him, as a matter of fact. I worked with him on a case about 3 months ago.
Yeah, my regular jobs investigating insurance fraud, art mainly, theft, high society, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked with Charlie in the past. Big money, yeah. And we help each other out. You know, I tell him what's going on the street. A bit of quid pro quo going on. He's a good man.
He's a good man, Charlie. I don't know him that well, but yeah, he's one of the good ones. I think he's been in the force longer than I have, which is saying something. Look, I'll level with you. I've got a concern about this. This, and I wouldn't say this to not everyone, but this is the 9th murder we've had in the last 2 years where the victims had this odd-looking symbol gouged into his forehead.
A 9th? Wow. And were they all as gruesome?
Yeah, I mean, they're not subtle. The weird thing is, you see, the victims, they had no apparent connections. Some were poor, wealthy, middle class, black, white, from all over the city. But the only thing that was in common are these damn marks.
Wow.
We work with like one of these, beg your pardon, one of these folklorists, an eccentric fella by the name of Mordecai Lemming, called himself a doctor. He said it was some sort of African death cult, but other than that, he wasn't able to give us any more information.
Where could we find this Mordecai?
I could probably find his address if you want me to. Not that I really should be giving out such things, but if I remember rightly, he stays in Murray Hill Hotel, East 40th Street, Park Avenue. Hangs around with some of his other bohemian types. He says he looks directly at Jacob when he says that.
Well, as a licensed investigator, I may work for the estate of Jackson Elias to investigate his murder. So I will take it on in a professional capacity.
Well, I have to be careful. As you can imagine, it's you shouldn't really be involved in a police business. But if you could,
no, well, we're not trying to.
Help me clear up this, mess. That would be appreciated. I've got a lot of stuff on my plate.
We'll be glad to help. Anything that you can share about the previous victims, so that we can maybe investigate a connection would.
Well, the interesting thing, you see, he sits down, he looks troubled, and he puts his head in his hands. Yeah, I don't know. No, maybe not.
You can't start and not finish. We're going to help you.
Yeah, I know, but there's some things that I shouldn't say. It's more than my job's worth.
Well, that sounds to me like there's even more to this than you're letting on.
Yeah, that might be the case, but it's the more that I maybe shouldn't be telling you. He laughs.
Well, or the who? You suggesting that this involves people we shouldn't be investigating?
No. Well, yeah. Maybe.
Well,
but,
tell us what you can, and then we'll come back to you with what we find out, and then you can confirm whether we're on the right track.
Okay. Can you make
where to back off?
Can you make a persuade roll, please?
I can try. Yes, I can.
He laughs and he swigs the last bit out of his coffee cup and says, "Douglas Blake, you're mighty persuasive." Well, look, it's like this. The investigation into the murders has already been closed. Captain Robson of the 14th Precinct in Harlem, he arrested a local man, Hilton Adams. He'd been found at the scene of one of the murders. I was always a bit nervous about the evidence that was submitted. It didn't smell right, you know what I mean, don't you?
I know.
And now there's been another one, even more concerned that Captain Robson got the wrong man. Captain Robson.
Does he have a record for that kind of clearing the books?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, he does. How can I put this? Pieces seem to fall into place in a mighty convenient fashion for Captain Robson.
I've met coppers like him. I don't like him.
Yeah, well, I've probably said too much now, so you better you better not use that against me.
No, not at all. You're an honest cop. That I can respect.
Yeah, well, if you can see to helping me, I will appreciate it for that. But as far as Robson goes, yeah, I don't know. There's been all sorts of rumours. Whether he's honest or not, I couldn't tell you, but I'd have my doubts. Anyway, you've not got anything else to tell me?
No, nothing at the moment, but we'll be in touch. Is here the best place to contact you?
Yeah.
If you've got a direct line, it might be easier if we phoned you directly rather than going through the switchboard.
He writes out his number. Yeah, I do. He writes out on his telephone number on a scrap of paper and hands it to you. Excuse me for yawning. I think you're right. When you said earlier, these are ritual slayings. The only thing these people obviously learn too much about what I've got no clue, but it's not the sort of thing that a rational man, or especially a rational policeman, goes around saying.
There's a reason that I'm not in the police anymore.
Yeah, well, I've only got a few years left. How's that side holding up? He says, looking at you, Lex.
Yeah, it's wonder. Are we close to finished, officer?
Yeah. Just one more thing. We found the old black Hudson Roadster, which was idling out in the back, registration plate NYL7. We traced it to a Thomas Witherspoon in Lenox Avenue, Harlem. Mr. Witherspoon says his car was stolen this very evening whilst he was in a saloon.
What did he say where the saloon was?
He did. Yeah. I think you better leave that one with me and my men first. We'll see if we can draw anything from that line of inquiries.
Sure.
If I need any help, I'll let you know. If you can concentrate on the occult,
the markings, yes.
That's not something that falls within our specialisms.
That's fine.
Excuse me, Lieutenant. About these markings, have there been reports of them outside of the city, or is it only within the city? Come across them, perhaps over in New Jersey or further afield?
No, to my knowledge, it's only ever been within the city itself. Yeah, I mean, I think we obviously share information wider, so they're quite unusual. I would have heard about them, but no, they definitely just been within the city.
Okay.
You're free to go now anyway.
Thank you. It's good to have met you, albeit under these circumstances.
Yeah, he shakes you by the hand and says, yeah, it's good to meet you too. Wrap up warm. It's damn cold out there.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Right.
He just laughs.
Right, we'll leave. Gentlemen, what worries me is, have we just made ourselves targets as well? If I remember back to Peru, we made a point of never being on our own. It feels like we might be in a similar situation here.
Okay, you walk outside the front of precinct number 7th precinct, and you kind of start to walk down the snowy streets. You can talk freely. It's quite obviously pretty quiet on the streets. It's in the middle of the night where it's like 2:00 in the morning.
Mm.
And so there's hardly any traffic around, really quiet. And same with the snow as well. But it is bitingly cold, or quite temperate as far as Lex is concerned.
Possibly balmy.
Yeah.
T-shirt and shorts.
It just makes me feel homely, that's all.
So what do we do? Do we all go to our respective homes?
I think so.
And then meet in the morning, or do we play it very safe and all stay together?
I'm going to my own bed. Love you guys, but I need some rest.
Very well. Well, shall we meet at yours?
Yeah,
in the morning. Won't make you travel, but I think we need to have a sit down, go through what we've found, and talk about next steps.
Yes, that does sound wise.
Okay, so Lex gives you his address in Hell's Kitchen, I presume?
Yep, that's right.
And you...
West 37th, near on the corner of 10th.
And I presume you agree on a time as well?
Yes.
Okay. Right, you all go back to your...
I'm not telling you.
in fact, it's so secret, you're not even telling each other either.
Yeah.
But at the agreed time, we will all meet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's late, isn't it? So let's meet at midday.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, so you all make your way back to your relevant establishments, abodes, and you sleep uneasily, more uneasily than you have in quite a while, despite the lingering presence of the reality of the Karasiri that kind of still occasionally rears its ugly head in your dreams. This is a lot more fresh. And the sight of seeing Jackson disemboweled upon the bed with that horrible symbol gouged in his forehead will remain in your nightmares for months and possibly years to come. So you all have a troubled night's sleep. Added to that, Lex, your obviously your wounds doesn't help either. But in the morning, the rest of you find yourself breakfasting, and then trudging through the snow towards Lex's house. Fortunately, encounter nobody or see nothing that would worry you in any way as you make your way to the house. I know where Lex lives, and I know where Stanton is. I'm not actually sure where you live, Douglas and Jacob. That's maybe something we need to look at for next time.
Yes, I shall do that. I don't have an exact address. I know roughly where, but
I was on the Upper East Side, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm on the Upper West Side.
Yeah.
So if you look at...
I'll be in the Upper Middle Side.
You are not going to like where I live.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, when I said so let me rephrase that. When you don't see anybody that would give you any concern at all until you come within half a mile of Lex's house, then all of a sudden you begin to look for shadowy figures in alleyways and.
Yeah. Can I get a taxi home, please?
It's not called Hell's Kitchen by accident.
No. Okay. So yeah, you head and presently you make your way to his room and knock him up, and so you are all together once again in Lex's apartment, which I'm hoping is nice and tidy inside.
Oh yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, it's probably got an ice rink in the
it's just in a very affordable neighbourhood. That's all.
Up and coming it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Give it another 60 years, maybe 70. It's going to be amazing.
Okay, yeah. So Lex is he still looks quite pale, and you can see that he winces whenever he moves. So he's obviously in quite a lot of pain.
I know what that's like.
And yeah, the bandaging. There was kind of a sign of Stanton. You notice that the bandaging has got some leakage coming through it, so it might need kind of redressing.
Mm-hmm. Right, I will do that. Certainly.
Okay, but whilst you're doing that, you can talk amongst yourselves.
So
there are a few of these things that link to the Carlisle expedition. There's the handwritten letter from someone in Cairo to Mr. Carlisle about curios. I think the Penhew Foundation, wasn't Penhew one of Carlisle's fellow expedition members?
Well, Sir Aubrey Penhew.
And the only thing with a recent date on it is the letter from Harvard University, which suggests that Jackson was looking for a book. That's quite recent. It's only a couple of months ago.
Yeah, so that would be the first course of action to find out what that book was.
Yeah.
And to find out what we can about the symbol that's been carved and whether anybody knows what it refers to. I mean, is it something that any of us are familiar with our occult knowledge?
Okay, I'll let you make a occult roll. Obviously, you would have gone home last night thinking about it.
Nah.
No, I don't think so.
No, draws a blank with me as well.
Come on, Lex, rescue us.
Lex's occult knowledge I don't think he's got on here, see?
He's going to roll a 1, isn't he?
No, I've rolled 51. So.
Oh, you're awesome. You should have rolled a 1. Yeah, that's Nyarlathotep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know where he is as well. It's just...
Surprised you don't know that.
I know nothing.
Try and keep it that way.
Yeah.
It's safer. Right, well, in which case, I would suggest, Stanton, you have access to libraries that you maybe see what you can find out about the symbol.
It's Nip to Cairo.
No, we can't go. I was just looking at stuff that we can do here. We could.
Anyone know whether the Stunning Tiger Bar's in New York? 18 Lantern Street. Is that familiar?
Lantern Street.
Chinatown.
Yeah, none of you have heard of the Stumbling Tiger in New York, no.
But the ships in the photograph, the boats, they do look Oriental. They're not Egyptian.
Singapore?
No, that building.
Yeah, it's the Liver building in Liverpool.
It's just flooded.
I did wonder about that, actually.
Well, those boats there.
Hong Kong,
I wonder when
Shanghai.
that Cult of Darkness lecture was and whether the speaker might still be in the city.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, so there's no date on that.
No.
Well, the the letter to Mr. Carlyle. I guess maybe that was what triggered his expedition in the first place, because it's March 1990, a month before he left.
Yeah. Shall we start, rather than going off in all various directions, shall we just concentrate on specific things? Because we're going to confuse ourselves. Let's find out about the symbol. Three things we can do. Find out about the symbol, find out where that photograph was taken, and contact Miriam Arkwright to find out about the title that's gone missing. So we could probably send a radiogram to her, or even phone her. Stanton, some library investigation. In fact, maybe going to the library and seeing if we can do some research on those buildings in the background, because we can probably narrow it down to architecture of colonial nature. So Singapore, Hong Kong, maybe.
Yeah, that's fine.
So those would be my suggestions, gentlemen.
On that, on the picture of the boats, so there's the large kind of steam or diesel powered yacht, which is the biggest. You can see there are the first three letters of the name are visible, DAR, just for information purposes. You might want to write that down.
DAR.
D for DAR. Yeah.
That's the yacht.
Yeah. So on the steam yacht, the steamboat, the big one, the first three letters of the name are visible, DAR.
Right.
I know the newspaper cuttings did mention the names of some of the ships, but those seemed like liners more than.
Well, that doesn't look like ocean going, does it?
No.
It's a pleasure yacht, isn't it? I wonder if it's large enough to have been registered with Lloyd's of London. That would be a possible.
Yeah.
Somebody who's in insurance needs to do that.
Indeed.
Have I heard of Emerson Imports? They're based in New York.
Have you heard of them? Bear with me a second. I will double check for you, because it's a potential, isn't it? With you?
Yeah, no idea what sort of things they import.
Yeah, well,
me too as well, actually.
Yeah. It could be something completely unhelpful, like potatoes.
Yeah, no, neither of you have. You chat about it, but the name would have kind of. You don't think it's anything to do with any of like antiquities or any kind of anything like that. Or there's certainly, if they do deal in that sort of stuff, they're certainly not of any note, because you would have heard of them.
They're not far from here, though.
No. Well, how long going to have to? We could walk past and see.
Yeah.
Except you can't really walk, can you, Lex? How you?
Yeah, he's actually okay. He's mobile. It just hurts.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's only 10 blocks away.
Well, we can go and have a look. If we go there, who are we going to ask? What are we going to ask?
Well,
ask to talk to
like
Silas.
Just walk past and see if there are any clues to what sort of things they import.
Yeah.
If we rock up and it's clearly a fruit dealer, I don't know what that would teach us. I don't know why I use fruit as the example.
It's because the mark on Jackson's head looks like a lemon that's been cut through.
Well, I was thinking pomegranate, but yeah.
Are we far from New York University?
Or Columbia?
Yeah.
Quite a way.
Well, it depends, because New York University is made up of lots of different colleges. It's not. I don't know where Shiloh Hall is, to be perfectly honest. We would have to ask someone.
I'll just show you. Yeah, I'll just show you, just for interest's sake. We'll get into this more next week when you guys have sorted out where you live. But here is a map, Roll20. So particularly the South Manhattan one. So what can you see? Can you see the maps?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So on the big one on the right, you can see where Lex lives, where the blue circle is. Yeah, Emerson Imports is number 10. So as you rightly said, it's not very far at all. If you look on the big map on the left-hand side, where Lex lives is the blue circle in the bottom part, but then the blue circle at the top is where Stanton lives.
Right. Okay.
Because he and the scale on that is like it's over 5 miles between their two houses. So
yeah.
So it's like it's public transport most of the time. Really, you don't really walk very much. We all know. Haven't been there.
and there are subways operating, but I'm not sure how extensive they are in that time.
Yeah, they are still fairly extensive subways actually, and there's also trams as well, trolleys as they call them.
New York University's up in the Bronx.
But there's also the yellow cabs. The yellow cabs started in 1907, so they've been quite well established. So yeah, there's a lot of transport, but a lot of it isn't war, which is probably good for Lex.
Yeah.
Well, should we start with Emerson Imports and then possibly check out with the university about the talk? I mean, they're the two New York-based lines.
Yep. Okay, so you're going to head towards Emerson Imports, are you?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you going to get a cab there, or what are you going to do?
I think perhaps we'd better, hadn't we? The street's clear enough of snow for cabs.
Yeah, they've made again. It's another day, so they've made quite a lot of progress on the snow. So the streets are actually in the city are pretty good now. So the taxis are running again, but there's still a load of snow piled up around the kind of sidewalk. Okay, right. Okay, you're going to head to Emerson Imports. You're just going to go and have a look? Are you? Is that what you're planning?
Yeah, I think we'll just try and find out what sort of things they import.
Yeah, and depending on what they look like, maybe Jacob and I can go in and talk to them because we've got a background in art and antiquities, and maybe we're looking for importers and we're looking at prospective people to work with, so we can go and talk to them.
Okay.
And if it's fruit, I'll go in.
If it's what?
If it's fruit, I'll go in.
Your area of expertise, is it?
Oh, yeah. I know my pomegranates from my lemons.
Okay, you hail a cab outside of Lex's house, where his apartment, and you ask him. Basically, the taxi officer just takes you to the location, knows where it is. You find yourself as you get out of the cab. You can see a sign for Emerson Imports on a long, narrow building on the edge of the Hudson River, just north of the edge of the Hell's Kitchen. There are loading docks at both ends. It's basically like the building itself is a warehouse, which is piled high with freight, and you can see there's a small set of offices that seem to be upstairs. You can see the windows. And you can see, obviously people working in the offices and in the warehouse.
So it's a literal importers rather than an office.
Yeah.
Are any of the crates marked with sort of points of origin or anything?
You're going to kind of have a wander around, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Can everybody make a spot hidden roll, please?
That's an extreme success.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, so is mine.
Was it? Is that an extreme success as well?
I'm an 8.
Okay. So, Jacob and Douglas, you've all been walking through the crates, kind of having a look around. Nobody's really paying you any attention. But all the crates seem to be unmarked. When both of you almost comically kind of crouch down next to the same crate at almost exactly the same time to see a really small stamp that's been kind of stamped into the wood. It says Arjar Singh Mombasa. AHJA Singh SINGH Mombasa. Okay, on seeing you kind of taking quite a close interest in the crates, you see one of the warehouse workers. He's working on driving a forklift. He jumps off it.
Oh, wait.
And then he saunters towards you. And that's probably a good place to stop, actually.
Excellent.
That wraps up this episode of Master Nyarlathotep. See you next Thursday, where we shall investigate the import-export business and see if any cultiness